often when people are thinking about the Vajra master, they always come up with this idea, well, what if the teacher told me to kill my child? You know, how could I possibly do that? And I think we have to apply a little bit of common sense here, you know, that we aren't going to ask our ordained disciples to kill their firstborn child or jump off a cliff or do anything like that. That there would be no principle or function working there. Usually what one might ask one's student to do is just view something in a slightly different way, that is perhaps challenging, just questioning their rationale, asking them to actually let go of their comfort zone and look at another viewpoint that is perhaps scary and challenging. That would be the most that we would be likely to ask of them.
Yes, to be ordained is to allow ultimate interference in your life, in terms of having interference with your entire view of your life. So there's a theoretical idea that dreadful things may be asked of you, but there's no basis in terms of practice as to why these things would be asked of you. And sometimes the most challenging things are actually the most subtle. Just to be able to, just to be asked to be kind to somebody with whom you're having a difficult time might be the most challenging thing ever. So because you have this relationship with your tantric teacher, you take these indications seriously and apply yourself to them seriously. And this is actually more dreadful and more of a real-world possibility than ever being asked to sacrifice your child on top of a mountain or whatever things people think may come from a relationship with a tantric master.
Coming out of a teaching one time, we happened to be opposite a derelict school, and all the windows had been smashed, even the ones right on the high floors. I think it was about 5 stories high. And I just casually mentioned to Ngakchen Rinpoche, you know, what a shame that it's been, you know, people have been smashing the windows like that and it's going to rack and ruin. And Rinpoche paused for a moment, and has a certain look that comes on his face when he's examining a situation, and he said, pretty skillful stone throwing to hit those windows up there. And this immediately flipped my view of this situation, that, wow, it is vandalism, but there's also skillful throwing there. These two seem incompatible, and yet one can work with the ambiguity of those two views, and it stops one falling rigidly on, these are bad people because they're throwing stones at the window, these are skillful people because they can hit those very top windows. Both aspects are there. So the Rinpoche wasn't saying, oh, vandalism is not a bad thing, it's absolutely fine for people to smash up a building. He wasn't saying that. He was just giving me the opportunity of holding those two apparently conflicting views and seeing how that worked for me, allowing me to play with that. And that is the sort of thing that our teacher offers us, is just cutting through our tendency to be black and white, to be prejudiced, to be, yes, it's this, no, it's that, whatever. Playing with our perception, playing with our response. This is what the Vajra relationship offers us.
And I think sometimes these challenges occur without even the intention of the Vajra master, but simply because we take seriously what they appear to be doing. So there was a time when I very firmly had Ngakchen Rinpoche in the good box, and I had guns in the bad box. And then Rinpoche took up shooting. And in Britain at least, this involved going down to the gun range and perforating paper, but I still had guns in the bad box. And that meant I had to look at the certainty that I had about which box who would be in which box, or what would be in which box, and the certainty I had that anything to do with guns was automatically bad. So that reevaluation and that change of view comes about not necessarily, who knows, not necessarily because your teacher has decided to display something, but because you have decided to look seriously at what the teacher is doing and consider that in terms of your own prejudice. And that in itself can open up all sorts of possibilities and free us up from fixed ways of thinking and viewing things.